Spike is the story of a former veteran of the British Army who served over in Northern Ireland, and as a result of both his time there and sort of quite a difficult upbringing, he suffered quite severely with post-traumatic stress disorder for long spells of his life. He, as a result of that, did some things that he, would himself say were pretty horrific.
We came across the story through a group called Veterans for Peace. A friend of mine, I know he's ex-SAS actually, he runs Veterans for Peace. And what Veterans for Peace do is, well, kind of what it sounds like, it's ex-army people, what would the word be, campaigning for peace and peaceful resolutions, and making people sure they're aware of the consequences of war. And I think there's a moral weight to what they do. In a way, I don't feel like it's my story. It's just for a documentary, you're just trying to think of the best way to reflect their story. So I feel like it's 100% his story, and we're just showing it in the best light we can, and just highlighting it in the best light we can, and just presenting it in the most visceral and affecting way we can. I guess the difficulty was the edit, because we had a lot of footage, so it was just how to present that and how to present it in a truthful way, because a lot of it was quite dark, so we didn't want to shy away from the darkness and the negative things that he had done, but we wanted to show that he's a human, he's a person, and this is what he went through, and this is what happens from his experiences. So we wanted for it to be truthful, balanced, and engaging.
We were quite fortunate in regards to the archive footage that we used, in that we didn't actually have to pay for a huge amount of it. The reason being, I very fortuitously was I was at a house party telling my friend about how I didn't have any money for archive for this project that I was working on, and a girl that I knew from university was listening in on my conversation and came over and said that her grandfather was in Northern Ireland throughout the entire Troubles, and actually kept a sort of a video diary of everything that was going on there, and had just kind of been sat on this huge personal archive that he'd shot himself of the Troubles. So we got in touch with him, and he was perfectly willing to just kind of let us have access to all of it. So we just trawled through that, and the vast majority of what you see in the film is from his personal archive, rather than having to spend a lot of money on sort of BBC archive or anything like that.
I know a lot about the history, and I know a lot about the context of the conflict. So I wanted to present a kind of a balanced view of the context of the conflict. I think a lot of people, perhaps in Britain, and also actually in the Republic of Ireland, don't understand the context of the conflict. So I wanted to give the political context from a personal point of view. So that's kind of the truth of the piece. I mean, factually, it's true, but the broader truth is the political context given in a personal manner. I think if you present these things as a series of facts, so at this point, I don't know, there was a hunger strike, at this point there was this massacre, at this point there was a civil rights movement, it can be very dry. So the idea, and something that film is really good at, is engaging people to the kind of the personal stories, and engaging people in the history through telling it as a story, through telling the kind of the emotions and the drivers behind why people acted why they did, because none of us know how we would act in a similar situation. It's a very heightened situation, a very dangerous situation, and just to personalize people and engage them in it, I think that's one of the strengths of film, that you can do it in a personal way.